what I liked was the references, the callbacks, and how serious this episode was. The character development was really, really good in this episode. The references were really, really good. I like references, and it starts off with Picard was like, we're the good guys, like I can be, I mean, it's like I can be persuasive when I need to be, and even though I put the ship in jeopardy, it's like hopefully they remembered how many times I saved the universe. But then Captain Shaw was like, except for that one time when you disconnected the saucer section of the Enterprise. Sorry, I'm hesitating to say it because it's like, how do I say that? How do I say that? But it's like that happened in the first movie they did, Generations, and it's like it just exploded, like the other part exploded, the engine part of the Enterprise exploded, and he's like, remember that? If they remember that, that's a terrible thing. And remember that time when you went back in time and almost created a time paradox because you were fighting the Borg? That was the next movie, and Captain Shaw, he just kept on going on and on and on with these references to times when they did, like, Picard did crazy things to like go against the prime, what's it called again? Prime direction? No, that's not what it's called. I can't remember. What's it called? Prime directive. Directive? Yeah, that's right. Directive. So, I was intrigued. I thought that was very witty, Shaw. And another thing that was very intriguing is later on in the episode, Picard is talking to the girl, and he's like, did you try to contact Admiral, the captain from Voyager? What's her name again? What's her name? What's her name? I can't remember. Wow. I just heard her name. I can't remember her name. What's her name? Girl name. Think of girl names, and then you'll probably remember. What can't I remember? This is terrible. What was her name? Jane. No. Janeway. Okay. Janeway. What I thought was interesting, like what was really interesting about that was like, she tried contacting Janeway and other people too, but she couldn't get past their handlers, and she tried even going to the media. And so the problem that people have with that kind of world is centralization, which is a thing that we have in the world. Now there are some of us who's trying to get away from centralization. We're moving into decentralization of media and power and money and everything else, like especially money, with the banks failing and governments want to come in. They really do want to come in and be the saviors, even though they created a lot of problems. I don't want to say all the problems, but a lot of problems. We can definitely agree on that they came in and they created the problems, a lot of problems, and they come in and they try to save the problems. I mean, solve. I mean, they try to pose as the saviors, like fake little saviors, kind of like what this episode's all about, kind of thing. And this episode's all about, like, do you know who is real? And Tim Pool was talking about that on Tubecast today. Like, what if we're in a simulation kind of thing? And what I say about that, is I don't care if this world is like if it's in a simulation or not. I don't know, unless if I was given evidence that this was not real. But as far as I know, it's real, and I'm gonna believe that it's real. But as far as like this episode goes, with like trying to figure out whether or not a person is real, is very intriguing, very very intriguing. And it's like the girl was trying to let people know that Starfleet was infiltrated. And in a world of centralization, it's very hard to like expose corruption, infiltration, but that's what's happening in that world, and that's why we try to go against it in the real world, kind of thing. And I really appreciated that Worf was able to calm down, like stop his heart beating. Like slow the pacing of his heartbeat to like play dead, and they thought he was dead, and then he came back and he saved the day, and that was really good that he didn't die. And then the other girl in space, she rammed her little shuttle into the engine of one of the engines of the other ship, the Intrepid, and that it looks just like the Enterprise. And she died a hero, and it was heartbreaking, but it made sense. Like a lot of times when they have something like that in a movie or a show, it's not always believable. In a way, in a sense, like I'm always thinking to myself, well, that didn't really have to happen. You didn't really have to die. You didn't really have to do it in that way to be a hero, to save the day. You didn't really have to die, or you didn't have to do this or that. I'm always thinking about those kinds of things, and I'm thinking to myself, that was a waste of time. That was a waste of a death. Like I don't want to see people die. Sometimes I guess you gotta die. Sometimes people don't. Sometimes you just gotta be stuck with your pot. P-O-T, pot. What's that all about? What's that? Better yet, what's OMG? But so many questions, and this question, it's like, it's on my mind. All these questions are definitely on my mind. And I just wanted to say that because I didn't say that earlier. That this show is really good, and I do recommend it, and it's very intriguing, and it has a watchability factor that's really good. Some shows are not rewatchable, like Star Wars content nowadays. I probably wouldn't watch it again and again because it's just not interesting. I'll watch it like maybe one time just because I'm making videos about Star Wars. I'm taking notes, and I'm just curious about what they're gonna do. And that's kind of how I felt about Star Trek Picard season 1 and 2. Season 1 and 2 was like different. It was a different kind of show, and now I feel a little bit better about season 3 of Picard, and I just want to see where it's gonna take us. And I just love the references, and I love how it's relatable in a lot of ways. And they talk about AI in Star Trek, and they talk about cloning in Star Wars, and they sort of talk about, like, they kind of talk about cloning in Star Trek too, but they call it the changelings. But in a sense, that's the same as cloning. In a sense, it's not. I mean, obviously it's not the same thing, but it's almost like disguised as that. Even though they don't call it cloning, you might as well call it cloning, but in a very accelerated rate, in an accelerated way. That's basically what it is. Except here, instead of having it as a scientific thing, you're just calling it a different species. I'm a species. I'm definitely a speciesist, as Roy Merrick likes to say, and I keep everybody on their knees. I keep everybody on their toes, walking on eggshells every time I get near all these different people coming down in the hood. Because I'm from the ghetto, and Picard is from the sky. That's why he stayed up there, because of what happened to his mother. You done hanging out with your mother? If you are, she's ready to go down in the basement and get some rope and hang us. Ooh, please don't delete this video for referencing season 2 of Picard, because it's really hard to keep track of what's going on nowadays. But it's really cool sometimes when you get to see something that blows your mind. Kind of like what? I don't know. Kind of like I don't know. I was trying to make up a joke, but I don't think it's gonna work. It's not gonna work unless if I can blow your mind with a joke, but it's probably not gonna work. And when something's not gonna work, maybe it's best not to try it. But for the people involved in the show, the new people involved that came in, the producers, the directors, or whatever, they know what they're doing, and that's good. What can I say? I'm gonna say goodbye. Goodbye.